In a world brimming with complexity, few creatures embody harmony like the honeybee. With tireless precision, she dances from bloom to bloom, each motion guided by millennia upon millennia of instinct, each act in service to the whole. And then there are the beekeepers, watchful stewards of this ancient symbiosis. Part agri-scientist, part poet, they move along their hives with the efficiency of Moe, Larry, and Curly, tending to the bees' needs as best they can comprehend, and with the infrequency of a waterfall in the Sahara, sometimes running off, flapping and flailing like a penguin on a hot sidewalk. This is their journey.
Welcome to Beloved Beekeeping, presented by our great friends and partners in beekeeping, Mann. Today we're going to have a fun conversation with a beekeeper whose hobby has gotten, let's just say, out of control, or as he puts it, a hobby gone too far. First, a piece of news from the beekeeping world. The headline reads, "Could bees be a model for SETI searches?" Ever since humans learned that there are countless stars in the universe with their own planetary systems, we have wondered if intelligent life exists beyond Earth. For more than 60 years, scientists have engaged in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, also known as SETI. But all these attempts have yielded no definitive results. This has led scientists to question their methods and the possible indications of technological activity that they should be looking for. In addition, they've come to consider expanding the search to include different forms of communication. Now, this is where the bees come in. One idea that has persistently guided SETI research is the notion that there exists one universal language, mathematics. Researchers at Monash University and the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology University have conducted experiments that showed that bees appreciate and even participate in mathematics. Over the last few years, the team explored the ability of bees to learn math. As they explain in their study, the evolution of bees and humans diverged over 600 million years ago, yet both possess the capacity for communication, social behavior, and math. The divergence in our methods for communicating are especially interesting. Whereas humans have evolved to use verbal language to communicate, bees evolved a physical language, the waggle dance. Through the motions of their limbs, bees are able to communicate the location of resources and other vital information. This includes both the distance and direction of resources, as well as the angle of the sun, and even the quality of the resources. The experiments involved free-flying bees who visited the outdoor lab regularly and were rewarded for their participation with sugar water. The results were very encouraging as the bees demonstrated the ability to link symbols with numbers to identify specific Arabic and Roman numerals, including the number 0. They further showed that they are capable of solving problems with quantities and to add and subtract, providing a basis for performing more abstract mathematics. This work suggests that interspecies communication is possible because creatures with complex social and/or brain structures understand mathematics. In fact, scientists who study bees have learned to read the waggle dance and to understand where their resources are based on the dance they're doing. Therefore, it could serve as a form of universal communication through which information can be shared and an understanding can be achieved. Because of cultural barriers, coupled with the time and space of communication distances, Some scientists believe that it's important for us to show possible ETs that our civilization communicates with multiple other species, which may be the very basis of establishing peaceful relations. Wow, let that settle in for a minute while we jump into our conversation with a hobby gone too far. I am so happy to welcome our guest today, Song Lee. How are you, Song?
Excellent, excellent. It was so nice meeting you at the expo.
I was going to say, we met recently at the expo and we had a great conversation, enough that we're going to do it again here today. And we won't get into all that detail, but it's good to be back with you. Here's the teaser I'm going to throw out for everybody. Beekeeping hobby gone crazy, or gone too far, or gone nuts, or gone something.
Whoever thought, just beekeeping, you get the bees, next thing you squeeze honey, right? No. Nobody told me. Nobody warned me.
Well, that's what this show is all about, which is the love of bees. And some people fall in love and they fall really in love. And that's where you've gone. Anyway, we'll get into all that in a minute. Before we do, let's tell people a little bit about like where you live and how you got into beekeeping.
So I live in Castro Valley, Northern California, East Bay. When we moved to this property, we changed the whole backyard, the raised beds, and planting fruit trees and so forth. And then my wife was complaining that her zucchini was not pollinating properly, even though she hand pollinates and so forth. So then, maybe get some bees. All right. Then at Costco was selling the kit, having a smoker, veil, cool thing. Whoever thought of wearing the veil on it. And then some people whom I buy the fruit tree from, I saw the bees on the backside of the property. So I asked them, hey, could I get some bees? Sure. Okay. So then next year in May, we picked up the bee. And then he said, yeah, check the bees once a week. I don't know what I was looking at, but we did. One thing that was stuck on my mind was after all these years, that bee was very aggressive. I mean, feisty. Maybe it was because I didn't know how to handle. Maybe genetically it was feisty. But anyway, we got stung every time we open it up. So I guess it is what it is, right? It goes with the territory.
Yeah. How many years ago was this?
This was 9 years ago.
Okay. And by the way, most of us are at a point where it is our spouses are saying your hobby's out of control. But for you, your wife got you started.
Well, the thing is, I had no idea it's going to go on this far, this much. After we got that, she was very happy. Pollination was fantastic. But 5 months later, bees were gone. I said, oh, this is a little different. So then I started looking into it, taking classes and so forth, and ended up UC Davis, a Master Beekeeper program. And that was a game changer, learning it all the scientific way of doing the beekeeping at the classroom setting. And that was apprentice level. And after that, it just took off. And then I joined the Alameda County Beekeepers Association. And going there, meeting other beekeepers, attending meetings, and learning from the speakers. And then we had the swarm list hotline. That is, people call in for the swarm, and then you can sign in, and then we get a notice. And whoever participant want to go get the swarm. And I started participating on it. That thing really took off.
Most hobbyists are at a level where they start with a couple of hives and maybe get up to 4 or 5. And if their hobby's gone a little crazy, maybe they've got 8 or 10 or 11. Where are you at right now?
That's about 100.
Or more.
Now you understand it. Hobby gone too far.
Where do you keep that many bees?
So first I started, okay, I think I can handle 5 hives. And then the end of a couple of years later, it turned into like a 30 hives. I think I can manage 30. And then gone up to about 50. So much you can have it on a little small property. So I was diversifying the investment, so to say, start to spreading out. And I'm a dry cleaner by the trade, and I've been doing the dry cleaning business for almost about 45 years. So at the time, I was thinking maybe some other customer may host my bees in their backyard. And I read it, I watched it somewhere, they were just hosting idea. That's great. So then I asked them, hey, can you host some of the bees? And starting from the 1, 2, and you don't have to do anything. And whenever I harvest honey, you gotta have some kind of lure, right? You get 20% of the honey. In other words, you get 10 frames out, I give you a fattest honey frame to them. Who's gonna say no?
All right, because you don't live on a big farm or anything, right?
No. This is an urban area. My property is about 10,000 square feet. And then it's an urban area. There's just not much space. There's so much you can keep the bees in one property.
There's probably even regulations in your city about how many you can have on your property. That would be kind of a normal thing. Now, you have a full-time business that you operate, the dry cleaners. How in the world do you have time to check all these bees and take care of them?
I learned about time management. So then place those host bees 5 to 10 minutes from the dry cleaner. So lunch hour, I go up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, and then weekends to take care of my bees and so forth. So takes 1 hour, 2 hour every day. I didn't waste my time driving, traveling, just right down the street to different direct logistically placed so that way bees not that crowded in that area.
All right. Now, one of the side effects, most of us call it a benefit, with that many bees, you're going to end up with a lot of honey. But you're only a hobbyist, okay? In my opinion, that means you're not doing this as a business venture. Otherwise, you'd be the size of a sideliner working your way towards being a commercial beekeeper.
Yes.
What do you do with all this honey?
Well, first, when I harvest first one, I didn't want to give it away at all. Hey, this is my treasure. I'm keeping it forever. But as time goes by, the volume goes up. 2 years ago, the maximum that I got was about 3,000 pounds, that's astronomical number as a hobbyist. So what I was thinking, people keep asking, people find it out in a community, hey, you doing the bees? What do they ask next? Do you have a honey? So then I start bottling it and then place it on the cleaners and the people picking up dry cleaning. Oh yeah, can I get one honey jar? And then the word start getting out and then become a local. How can you get any localer than that?
So you don't have to go to the farmers markets and stuff. You already have a retail location.
Yes.
People get to know it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, like they know the source. And then I show my hands and the face like when I got stung and then, yeah.
Do you not wear any protective gear?
Not most of the time anymore. But even though I get stung, I don't have any reaction whatsoever at this point.
Okay, let's go back to one of the first things that you said, which was the first bees that you got were mean and you got stung a lot. That's a problem that some people have. What did you do to solve this issue?
So I started learning at the school and then all different type of bees and so forth. The one other thing that I learned is that instead of having a certain specific genetics, I said locally adapted bees. So I figured these bees know my locale, climate, where to go, all of that. And then on top of that, start learning about the grafting. I even learned how to do artificial insemination. But the selection of the genetics, whoever has a feisty defensive bees, I learned pinch the queen and then replace with my docile queen. And then time goes by, her daughter is much better. So I have been rearing, I've been using the word, rearing the queens that are docile and gentle. So it's been about 5th year that I've been doing. So most of these are pretty gentle and calm. So then whenever I teach people, I teach how to handle with the bare hand. As you know, having wear a thick leather glove become clumsy and clinking and squishing bees. So this way you have a keep all the dexterity, and then also bees will cooperate.
So it's about the genetics. That sounds really easy. It's not for some people if they're very beginners. But isn't it amazing how when you do that, you replace that queen, if it's done right, within a couple of months, the whole hive has changed.
Some of them within a couple of days, as far as about 2 weeks. Finding out the foragers are the ones stinging the most, and their venom is the strongest, and that hurts the most, and the effect lasts longer. So after those foragers die off, and the new ones coming up with a gentle mother's pheromone, and they're pretty calm. So I give you 2 weeks, but after that, those guys are really accommodating.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your bee club because I know that's been a great influence on you. Give me an idea of how you've been involved and what it's done for you and what you've done for them.
Of course, finding out in the beginning, searching for different, finding a school and associations, all that. I was surprised that in United States, just about any county has a beekeepers association. So then sometimes I get a call from different parts of the country. First thing I recommend, find a local beekeeper and join.
It may seem early, but right now is a great time to order your live bees for 2026 because they do sell out and because Mann Lake is offering a discount for Beloved Podcast listeners. Wait, what? I know you're saying live bees, they never go on sale. Well, they are now. Click on over to Mann Lake, order your bees any variety, nukes or packages, and anything in the beginner essentials category. And when you check out, use the code Get Started in Bees. It's down in the show notes, so you don't have to remember, for a discount on everything. So get your orders in early and save.
So then what I've learned is that we have a common sense about the bees, and then we can talk about bees, problems and issues and benefits and the ideas. So then got heavily involved as I was a vice president for about 2 years. And then this year, I was going to take over the club association as a president, but the personal issue that I wanted to retire so I can do beekeeping for full time. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
You're knocking out that hobby door here. You're getting too far.
So I said, hey, I got some personal, take it to dry cleaner to train the new owner. And so it's going to take a little more time. Then I will come back and take care of it. So then what I did suggest was about 3 years ago, why don't we have our own club apiary? So then we can have a demonstrations, training, and exhibition, whatever. So how I donate my hive, and then someone else's, and so forth. So that I have been managing the club apiary. As a matter of fact, we just had our first year hive dive, and then one of the colony was exploding. So what I did was I showed a demo release split, and then we will do follow up. The last year splits, how to take care of the, of course, my test. And then one of the colony that I demonstrated that people want to, what happens if you do not take care of the colony, and this will happen. And the step by step follow through all the way down to laying worker situation. People can see, they look at it, there's a brood. Okay, what kind of brood? Yeah, it's a brood. No, those are male drones. And you see the pattern here, kind of random. This is called laying worker situation. And they get to see so it's really rewarding to share my knowledge and experience to the members.
You learned fast. 9 years sounds like a long time, but in beekeeping, that's kind of new as far as the learning curve. Because we can be learning for 50 years and still have so much more to learn. Is it hard to find all the beekeeping supplies that you need out in your area?
Not at all. Not at all. We have a local in Berkeley. There's a biofuel oasis. They sell Man Lake stuff there at their price, which is bad. Sometime in their area, you just go down there, just pick it up. And then, but me, I love Man Lake. That is only hour and a half drive, hour 20 minutes to be exact. It's just like a little kid going to a candy store. You just go in, just look around, and I saw one extract. It's a price of $15,000. Okay, someday I took a picture. Someday I may have one, but who knows?
Well, I know where we met at the expo was at the Man Lake booth, and you mentioned to one of the head people there that you dropped like 10 grand the last time you were in their store. So they see you coming and I'm sure appreciate it very, very much. I think a few minutes ago you said 3,000 pounds of honey a year. That's
Yes.
a ton and a half. That's a lot of honey. So what do you do for extraction?
Well, I use well, again, this is totally one man show. Someone, I think you asked me, do you have any helper? Says like, excuse me, do I need a helper?
Your wife should be helping. She started this whole thing.
Getting into the hive, it brings me to a totally different world. It's like a meditation. Working with the bees, watch how they grow, and then you gotta think and then prepare for next time. And on top of that, you know what it devolves into? Social media. One day, I went to extraction. I do a lot of cutouts. And because of your name gets out there locally in the community, people call it, there's an issue. Not only the honeybees, so yellow jackets, wasps, you name it, anything flying, they call me. So this is the situation. What can I do? So I went to the cutout this house, and then this owner's daughter keep talking to me. Mr. Lee, I think you should do TikTok. You should. She just, so I said, TikTok? No, that's for the kids. No, thank you. No, thank you. And she was persistent. And second day, after I finished, okay, you win. So we sat down and she went through the whole process, how to go about a TikTok. And then 30 minutes later, okay, I think I got it. So I came home. This is during the COVID, now about 5 years ago. And laying around, playing with the phone, then they start posting stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth one that I put on, this was about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I went to work, and noon time I checked this at 10,000 views.
Whoa, nice.
And then 2 o'clock I checked it, 50,000 views. And by the time I get off work, he was running about 100,000 views. So I went to my buddy's house, and then, hey, listen, this is what's happening. And then he called, he was still laughing. He called his kids. Come here, come here. They looked at it, and they go, Dad, his video is going viral. I said, what do you mean viral? Somebody's sick? They were saying, Dad, his video is going to hit 1 million tomorrow. Excuse me? You gotta be kidding me. So I got up 6 o'clock, checked it, 2 million views.
What was in that video?
It was just honey uncapping with a hot knife. Okay?
That's it.
That's it. And then there was not even my video. It was my friend's, Mike Vigo, and he's a commercial. He's doing a business with taking care of someone else's bees. And when he was uncapping, I was mesmerized the way he's doing it. So I videotaped it, okay? And then I asked for permission, can I put this on? Yeah, go ahead. And put it on. Up to this now, it hit 160 million views.
Get out of here. All right. Where do people find you on social media? I'll stick it down in the show notes too.
Okay. TikTok and Facebook is a Song Lee, the Bee Charmer.
So SUNGLEE, the Bee Charmer.
Yeah, the Bee Charmer. And then the funny story on that too is I didn't make the name. I did not. When I posting stuff in our San Lorenzo, in our community, they made the name. The whisperer is too common. No, we call you a bee charmer. And then it became a bee charmer.
I like it. Like a snake charmer.
Yeah. And then what I learned about ASMR, which is satisfying, I guess it was satisfying to people. So that similar one hit about 15 million views, 30 million views. And then now I put out like the removing bees, swarms, 1 million views, 100,000 views. So I said, okay, so then maybe I can challenge on a YouTube channel. So I moved on to YouTube, and that is challenging. At the expo, I was sitting at the Lawrence Edwards session, two of them, and second one was the social media. And I was having a hard time with the YouTube channel. Here's the thing. TikTok is entertainment. YouTube is mostly how-to. My mind is mostly satisfying. This is what I did. But YouTube is not working. So then I'm sitting at the Lawrence session, and he gave me an answer. Problem solving. Just one sentence. Aha. I knew it was how-to, but problem solving, that's what I need to do. People have a question, people have a problem. I need to show what I know, how to solve that issue. So after the session, I went up to Lawrence and said, thank you so much. You gave me the answer what I'm looking for. And I took a picture with him.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you're now the king of all social media. I had no idea you were such a big star when we were talking the other day.
It wasn't meant to be.
Celebrity all the way. All right. Anyway, we'll have a link if people want to look at some of that. We'll talk about a whole bunch more. But I know you have a fun, wild, and crazy beekeeping story. Let's jump to that right now.
Okay. So one of the most remember the phenomenal, the incident was that a lot of club members keep saying that song. You should have a pickup truck or a van.
Well, especially if you're catching swarms and doing cutouts, you're transferring bees from point A to point B. So what do you transfer them in?
BMW.
You mean a BMW?
Yes, BMW. It was meant to be. So I, put in sometimes the back, mostly back seat. My trunk is full of gears. So I'm usually in the back seat. And sometimes I carry about 2 or 3 boxes. I squish it in about 3 or 4 boxes by next to the passenger seat, so forth. But one time I was moving the bees and then I thought I sealed it properly. Was not. All they need is a 1/4 inch gap, right? Bees start coming up. Probably in the beginning, I would have scared. I would be freaking out. But I said, okay, calm down. Okay, we'll get there. Okay. So then what happens? When you stop at the red light or stop sign, people see and they're honking at me.
Let's make sure people understand what they are seeing, because I've had this happen in a car before. The bees come out, they head for the windows, and they will coat the windows because they want to get out to the sunny place. So I'm imagining you come up to a stop sign in your Beamer, and all people can see is bees all over the windows. For all they know, the whole inside is completely full of bees too. And then what do?
You mean the bees or people?
The people.
They start honking and pointing at me. It's like, are you crazy? So I said, okay, yeah, just stay cool.
Well, you're not gonna roll the windows down, the bees are gonna fly out.
No, I don't want to lose them. So I said, just stay put, we get there soon.
Well, the nice thing that I found in those situations is usually the bees aren't aggressive. I've never been stung that way before. They're just around the windows and wanna get out and whatever. Have you been okay that way?
Oh yeah, I've been fine. Just people get landing on me and their face and so forth. But just make sure I see it. It doesn't distract my driving. But I usually try to get there as soon as possible. So then I'll open it up and then unload the bees, get them in a safe place. Anyways, I don't want to go too far.
And we totally do not recommend this.
No.
This is not safe. We're not recommending this in any way, shape, or form. But hey, beekeepers, I'll bet it's happened to you too. It's happened to all of us, it seems like. So I think the key is don't freak out. Do not freak out. If you think you're going to freak out, gently pull to the side of the road and get out of your vehicle. Because if you freak out, something bad's going to happen. So keep your cool.
So for that reason, but it doesn't happen all the time. But whenever I transport or someone is taking a, make sure I double, triple seal, make sure there's no leakage of the bees, and a lesson learned.
I'm just picturing this. I wish you had pictures. I wish the people had taken pictures. That'd be good for your next TikTok, by the way.
Well, actually, it's on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever it happens, I put the camera on, then okay, guys, stay put.
All right. I'm going to go check out your TikToks. Before I let you go, I want to hear some other advice for hobby beekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
What have you got?
Well, first of all, I would recommend to try to get into the hive as many as possible, because this is the skill. You may know all the knowledge in your head, but if your hand, your body, coordination, your eye, if it doesn't develop your skill, you're not gonna get any better sooner. I figured I check about my hives about at least about 2,000 times a year. Why my skill has gotten better? Because of a number. If you have one or two hives, you may check about 20, 30 times a year. That's about it. Even though people say it may bother, but this is a learning curve. You gotta pass that stage to get better. And then number two, a lot of recording. But also for me, was one of the best thing helped was the taking a lot of photos and videos. So then later I can review something that I missed. When I look at it, that's what it was. And then I can study later and then find the solution or what it is recognition. So that really help. Then also having your bee buddies and the mentors and ask questions, and then you get least intellectually you understand that with that base and practice and practice and practice.
One of the things that I'm not very good at is taking notes, is having some kind of a little journal out with me in the bee yard and writing down, here's what's going on with this hive and here's when I treated this one and et cetera. Do you have some kind of a good system for that? Because that's a lot of hives to keep track of.
Yeah. Maybe you can have a phone. There's some other gadget I saw they came out. You can record your voice as you're going through, record all the frame number one, there's a honey frame number 3, I see the chalkroot, something, or you say, if you can record a chalkroot, it's fine, but something that is in the dried out and I don't know what it is and so forth. So having a recording will help. And in the beginning, I had a app, and then every time I have to get on the phone and connect to the internet and then recording and so forth. But later, it's become so cumbersome. So what I did was on top of the hive box, put a big white strip on them, and then start writing down date, what I saw, and then on that, what I need next time, need a super or need food.
When you say a strip, do you mean like a painter's tape or something like that?
Something like that, yes. So I bought it from Uline. It's a white, 2.5 inch wide, the white tape on it so that I can strip it and then lay it on the one side and then start writing on with a marker. But over time, that thing fades. So I'm going to make a tool, which is going to have a cover for it so it doesn't fade out. But at the at Expo, someone from Canada, he had a pen marker. It doesn't fade. So he mentioned that. So I chased him all the way to the hallway, grab him, excuse me, and then he showed me the pen. I took a picture of it, and then I haven't been able to have the time to order it. But I'm going to have a 2.0. But there are a lot of abbreviation on the tape. Let's say QM, Queen Mart, PP, pollen patty, SP, sugar syrup, SS, or things like that. It's a lot of abbreviation. So you don't have to write the whole thing, just abbreviation. But before I go in, I read it, how it was. And then if I don't have what I needed it, I go back and then find the ones that I needed, come back, and then dive in. And then after finish, just jot it down. Takes about minute, and we'll take care of that.
That is a great tip. I love it. The important thing is whatever works for you, do that. You can get an app, you can have a notebook, you can do that thing with the tape, I think is great. I met with some beekeepers in Hawaii recently, and they had this really cool setup. They had a half a dozen hives in what looked like a big shed or a really small barn that didn't have walls on it. So basically, it was a big cover to keep the rain off and that kind of thing. And one wall of this bee house, I'll call it, was solid, and they had a great big whiteboard up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had numbered each of their hives, and they just, when they were done with the bees that day, they would write notes up on this whiteboard, and that worked great for them. That doesn't work if you don't have a shelter thing like that, but whatever works for you, do it. Yep, and just keep track.
The pencil, carbon dating, the pencil fades only half by 100 years? So I see in the beginning, I use the pencil and then start writing all the side of the box. And I still have them. Then I read it. Oh my God, this is what I did. That's funny. It's just a way to keep track of things, your bees, and then you keep up with, which is very important.
All right. Song Lee, it's been a ton of fun. I can't wait to visit you next time I'm out in Northern California and get some dry cleaner honey. I hope that's not your brand.
Well, thank you so much. It's been so much fun and pleasure, and especially meeting you. You know how we met?
Yes.
We met just from convention center to the hotel. I didn't want to wait for the bus. Two gentlemen was walking. I said,
in the dark, back to the hotels at the end of one of the days at the expo, and we got chatting, and one thing led to another.
Yep, here we are.
Yeah. Anyway, good to see you. Keep in touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining us on Bee Love Beekeeping, presented by our great friends over at Mann Lake. Hey, and don't forget to order your bees. And a shout out to Vita Bee Health for their support. Vita's Varroa control range of products includes Apistan, Apiguard, and now Viroxan, extended release oxalic acid strips. Thank you so much, guys. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and follow the show. Tell your friends about it and click on over to belovebeekeeping.com to sign up for our free newsletter. If you have a guest suggestion or topic that you'd like discussed on the show, shoot me an email, eric@belovebeekeeping.com. And remember, if you're not just in it for the honey or the money, you're in it for the love. See you next week.